going? Today I wanted to make just a quick video of my review of a book called Moon Spells. I did read the entire book already. It only took me like a day or two to read the whole thing, as far as like the commentary about what she says you should do with certain spells and stuff like that. So, it really didn't take very long to read, but this is what it looks like. I just bought it at Barnes & Noble. I think it was close to like $10 or something like that. So basically what it's used for is obviously what it says. How to use the phases of the moon to get what you want. So it's for like manifesting. Just kind of do a quick run through of the book. So here's kind of the table of contents. So it says things like preparing your spell, when to perform your spell, creating a magical atmosphere, spells, so it actually gives you spells in the books that you can do, other than writing your own. I would probably recommend still writing your own. Sometimes using other people's doesn't really work quite right, because it's not really your own intentions and stuff behind it as much, so that's up to you though. So then there's lanterns of light, so there's also things in here like Chinese astrology, numerology, Western astrology, and then there's a conclusion, bibliography, and index in the back of it. Here's kind of the first section, preparing for your spell. I mean, it gives you all kinds of good information in it. It really is, if you've never done a moon spell before or anything like that, this book is very helpful to teach you kind of how to walk through things. So this first part tells you about when to perform your spell, kind of, too. And here's where it tells you the phases of the moon and what they do. This tells you a bit more about the months and what each month is kind of about. This part is about days of the week that are best for it, which she mentions in the book that you don't have to do it on the day of the week. It's just like an extra boost of power, basically. Where to conduct your spell, inside, outside, using tree magic. Tells you about the different kinds of trees, what they're good for. Like ash is peace, protection, prosperity, and strength. This tells you about directions. So what north brings, what south brings, what east brings, so what direction you want to be facing when you conduct your spell. I don't know if a lot of witches really even use this very much, but I've definitely been using it. So just a sample of that is south says corresponds to the element of fire. Face south for love, issues, relationships of any kind, creative and artistic pursuits, anything of a romantic or emotional nature. Why and how to perform spells, how to conduct a spell, advanced work, how to cast different formations, circle, triangle, so those things have different meanings to them, square, about magical spell checklists, finding time, overcoming problems. This tells you about creating and walking moon circles outside, meanings of the 4 directions in the moon circle walking, creating a magical atmosphere, magical enhancements, magical tools. And this tells you about candles, so what color candle helps you manifest a certain thing. So like blue, peace, tranquility, protection, fidelity, astral projection. This tells you about what herbs and stuff help you with certain things, like health says bay, carnation, cedar, eucalyptus, juniper, lavender, lemon balm, myrrh, pine, sage, sandalwood, and thyme. Oops. This tells you just a little bit about crystals and how they can help you. Element water, she tells you about how to make element water. Tells you about altars. And then it actually gets into spells. So this is all stuff for like health, continued good health. So, I mean, after that, it pretty much just gets into the spells and the astrology and stuff like that. So, your life path numbers and stuff like that. But there are a lot of spells in here. Like, this is all a section about spells. So, I mean, this is really only how much of the book that you have to read is this. The other half of it, or maybe more than half of it, is just actual spells. So, that's pretty interesting. It's a good book. I do like it. I use it pretty much every time that I do a manifesting ritual. I just kind of go back and reference it, and I kind of like to prepare my spells a little bit and, you know, like make a journal and write it out about what I'm going to do, what crystals I'm going to use, what incense and, you know, herbs and all those kinds of things that I'm going to use before I actually do the spell, so that I'm prepared for it and I'm ready for it, and I can go ahead and just gather all the stuff and then not forget anything and just have my own little checklist like it mentions in the book to have. So, I mean, yeah, you could probably just wing your spell and be like, oh, tonight's a full moon or a new moon or whatever, and probably could do it just fine. But I personally like to get things a little bit more organized, so that after the fact I'm not like, oh, well, I should have used this too with it, you know? Which, I mean, I do that sometimes, I guess, anyways, even if I write it down, but for the most part, it's just easier for me to just be organized, so that once I cast my circle and stuff, I don't have to really keep jumping out of it and opening and closing a part of it for me to go in and out. So it's just a little bit easier to do that. She tells you about when you cast a spell, how to protect yourself and stuff like that, casting your circle and everything, and how to actually properly leave your circle without, I guess, letting energy out and stuff. So I do that, which it's just as simple as waving your hand over a little area and, you know, thinking that you're opening a spot for you to exit out of, and you don't just leave it open once you get out of it. You just kind of walk out, wave your hand over it, and then wave your hand over it again to close it until you come back, and then do the same thing, basically. So it has all kinds of good information in there. I like the book a lot. So if anybody is considering the book, I definitely would recommend it. It's just kind of basic stuff. I'm sure you can find books out there with a lot more information to them, but I think that this book steps on a lot of good points and stuff. So yeah, that's just my review of this book. It's Moon Spells, Diane Alquist. I will recommend that if you do buy it from, like I did, Barnes & Noble, you can find it pretty cheap on eBay and Amazon and stuff too. But they did, when I went into the bookstore, I looked online to see what their prices were, and it was cheaper than what the in-store was. So just a recommendation there, you might want to pull that up as well. Make sure it's what the price is in your store, and then, you know, ask them to price match and stuff, maybe to save you a little bit of money. But anyways, that is my review of this book. I really do like it. I would definitely recommend it, especially to anybody that's just getting into this. If you've been doing it for years, maybe it's not such a helpful book because you probably already know all these things. But who knows? I mean, you might enjoy having it too, and maybe learn some things from it that you didn't know also. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video and have a great rest of the day. Alright.